Frankie Schofield posted saying, seriously, a friend just texted me and said I cannot stay at her house unless I wear a mask to the Freedom Rally Saturday, where we are protesting wearing masks.
What? What the hey?
What? I'm just going to put, huh, with a question mark.
Oh, I think there it is. I think we're
Say
live.
what?
Do you see
Okay.
it? Okay, now
Let me take a look here.
I get
I don't see you on the Hangouts tab.
right, because we should still be on the We the People thingy. Well, I've got it routed now through live on YouTube. It says it's an excellent connection. Pretty lady, say something. I've got it routed now through. Where do I get the crap? Excellent connection.
So far, all I see is our backsplash on there.
But do you see it on YouTube?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay. Okay. So that's. Okay. So now you can
So far,
share
all I
that.
see is our
If you take
backsplash
that
on there.
YouTube link, now you can share it.
Yes.
Awesome.
Okay, so I'll share it from YouTube.
Yes.
So far, all I see is our backsplash on there.
Okay, now I've got the YouTube link.
Yes. Okay, so I'll share it from YouTube. Okay, the problem I'm having though is I can't hear you very well through the Hangouts app. And if I turn up the volume on my computer loud enough to hear you, then my own voice bounces back at me. I can't hear you very well. And if I turn up the volume on my computer loud enough to hear you, then
I'm gonna wear some headphones or headset. I forgot about that. Thanks for reminding me.
It's a neat effect.
Yeah, give me a second. I'm going to do that too.
Whoa. Okay, loud. Let me turn the volume down. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, give me a second. I'm going to do that too.
Sure.
But I still don't see our images showing up on the Hangouts app, so I can't see you.
You will see me, but the opening scene is silent and it's just the background.
Okay.
Trust me, it will change. It will indeed change.
We'll work out all these little bugs here.
Yep.
Every time we do something new, we discover a new problem.
Yep.
Let's see. Work out all these little bugs here. Can't see. Okay, there it is.
Okay. And then just make sure that you turn down the volume.
See if that helps.
You need a station engineer.
Yeah, make sure you turn down the volume on YouTube.
That's what I'm worried about.
I just put headphones.
You got your headphones on?
Yeah.
Awesome. You can hear me? Can you hear me now?
You're in from our channel. I'm trying to unmute that.
Yeah, mute. Make sure you mute the YouTube channel.
Here.
There you go.
Gotta figure out how to do that. Let's see.
You should be able to mute it from YouTube itself.
Okay, let me turn the volume back up on my laptop now. I've got the YouTube app muted. Yay. Okay, now try to talk to me.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, man.
Okay, I think I got it.
Yay! Okay. Let me turn off some Wi-Fi stuff. Okay, so you can hear me. I can hear you. ready to go live?
I'm going to share
Okay.
Facebook.
Yes.
And
then go to groups and start some watch parties. Let's see. So can you hear me loud and clear still?
yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
For some reason, I'm only hearing on one of my earphones. I don't know why it's working like that, but I don't know. Something I'll have to figure out. I could use my headphones, but then I'd be wearing headphones. And what I did was I wired my earphones back behind me, so it's not obvious.
Right.
Let's see. So that.
Guess I should have done that. Huh.
Friends. I'm going to tag friends on this. Actually, no, that doesn't seem to work too well. See that. And there. And that. Okay, I'm going to share it to what groups are you sharing it to?
I'm on the Common Values group. I'm trying to start a watch party. Let's see.
Okay.
Room. No,
I don't see how to start a watch party though. I don't think I can.
Saw it earlier. I don't know if I can just remember and if YouTube can just catch up with me. Post, story, life event, marketplace, listening. Oh, it might be under live. Let's see here. Well, at the very least, for right now, we can share the link on some.
That's what I'm doing. I'm sharing it to No Mask New Mexico, New Mexico 33.
Okay, great.
Let's see, Trumpican rallies. I'll post it there.
Yeah.
Turn New Mexico Red 2020. And Conservative New Mexico.
I'll have to ask Audrey.
I'll share it to Pro Gun Women too.
Okay.
There.
I actually think in order to start a watch party, you might have to go directly to the video. Let's see here.
Maybe.
Share it on this group.
But I still don't see you on the Hangouts video. I don't see us both on the screen.
Right. You won't see it because the video is being piped through the software. So whatever we're streaming out live right now is what you're seeing on Hangouts. Huh.
Right, but see, I don't see anything on the Hangouts.
Do you see the We the People thing?
Yeah, that's all I see.
Okay, that's good. That means that it's working. And as soon as I change the scene from my opening picture and image, then you'll see us.
Okay.
How it works. Okay. Now I know why everyone who live streams is always on a little bit late. Because
could be.
There's something going on.
Mark was saying we need a system engineer.
Right? No, now I know why a lot of these big programs like Louder with Crowder, Dave Rubin, they have their own engineers and producers.
Oh yeah, coordinating everything and getting it all ready to go.
Yeah.
And then they just cue them. Okay, go. You're ready.
Mm-hmm. That's what Trump has.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's what Rush has.
Yeah.
And that's what well, just about everybody out there.
Everybody,
has.
Dan Bongino, and
Well, we're quite a bit more into the humble beginnings than all of those.
yes, we're at the humble beginnings right now.
The humble endings.
Okay, well. We were 280s. Okay, we have two current viewers. Oh, it's probably you and me.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, I still can't figure out how to start a watch party because the YouTube's definitely a live video. Should be able to. What's this I? Oh, why not? Watch party. Type it in here. See if Facebook will. Tell me how to do it. Watch party. So I guess when we did this on Facebook Live, it gives you the option to start a watch party automatically. Because I know I've joined watch parties where someone's been watching something live from, say, YouTube or Breitbart.
Uh-huh.
But I've never figured out how they set that up. Oh well. Well, in that case, if we can't quite get how to start a watch party. Yeah, actually, you know what? Message Audrey or Maddie and see if they can start a watch party. I think, is Audrey on right now?
Okay.
I think Audrey's on.
I'll message Audrey right now.
Okay. Yay! And I messaged a group that we're in, so hopefully someone else will see it too. Okay, well in that case, I am ready to go whenever you are.
Okay, let's do it.
All I gotta do, okay, counting down 3, 2, 1. Hey everybody, I am Natalie.
Hey, hey. Oh, my camera got a little out of whack there. Let me fix that.
Oh, it's my fault.
I don't know how I managed that.
There we go. There's Rebecca. So I'm Natalie.
And I'm Rebecca.
And we are your Liberty Ladies.
And we unite.
Yes.
And together we are wild stallions.
So I wanted to, kind of start off last week. Whoop, there goes my camera again. Darn it. Okay. Last week, we talked about the fighting back against the mask mandates.
Mm-hmm.
And so since then, what I did was I did a little bit of a lookup. Why can't I hear you, Natalie?
Well, I'm silent right now.
Oh, there you are. Okay. All right, good. All right. So I did a lookup on, this 2-page sheet that we did on the legal notice.
Yep.
And I looked up all those statutes. Now, I don't know if any of the rest of you looked up the statutes, but on the number one for the it is illegal for you or another employee to require someone to wear a mask. That is a New Mexico statute 61-6-20.
Yes.
And
the same one too.
okay. And number two, that one actually didn't have a statute to look up.
Fourth Amendment right to privacy.
Yeah, so I guess it would just kind of.
Yeah.
And then number three, it is illegal for you or another employee to attempt to enforce legal ordinances. And that is basically impersonating a law enforcement officer. And that is statute 30-27-2.1. Is that what you found?
Yep, that's what I got. 30-27-2.1. And it's a fourth-degree felony.
And by the way, on that first one that I mentioned, I forgot to mention what that carries a penalty of. It carries a penalty of 18 months in prison and $5,000 fine.
Yep, and it can be considered a fourth-degree felony as well.
Yep. Let's see. Either another employee to prohibit someone to enter this establishment, which is a place of public accommodation, as we talked about quite a lot. And that is falls under statute 28-1-7.
Yep, same here.
Okay, cool. And hopefully everybody else had the same.
We do facts and like actual law and policy. So yeah, all of this is coming to us straight from New Mexico statutory law, updated as of 2019.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Let me fix this thing here.
So
I don't know. So as you guys might notice, we're trying out some new software this week. And so we're trying to work out the bugs on it. It's not perfect yet, but hopefully we get this a little better every week.
Yeah. Because as much as we would love to be coming to you all from the same room and the same sofa every single week, with our schedule, it just doesn't always work out. But yeah, in the meantime, I've discovered a lot of new toys and software, and oh my gosh, I might have fallen down the rabbit hole just a tiny bit this week.
Just a little bit.
Just a little.
Yeah.
Hopefully this, will look better and sound better in the coming weeks. So we'll see.
Yes.
So number 5, I
yes.
found illegal for you or another employee to block someone's entry to your establishment. That constitutes false imprisonment, and New Mexico statutory code is 30-4-3.
Exactly. That's what I came up with. And an interesting thing, I read a post by one of my friends on Facebook just minutes before we started our broadcast. And she was talking about a local pub that she went to in which they'd gone in there. And then when they were done eating, one of them wanted to go use the bathroom.
Right.
Well, the manager said they weren't allowed to go use the bathroom without wearing a mask. Now, I ran into this situation myself the other day. Yes.
That's a
unbelievable
public health violation.
I know. It's like, well, how about if I just go right here at the table because I can't hold it, Oh my God.
Oh my God.
So, yeah. So anyway, so it gets worse. It gets way worse.
Oh no.
So she went ahead and went to the bathroom anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And when she came back out, this manager grabbed her by the arm. Okay. So we're talking about physical battery here at this point.
Assault. Oh my God.
That's assault and battery.
I hope she sued them.
Oh, I hope so. Because that's the battery part of assault and battery.
Right. You grab hold of somebody, especially the man grabbing a woman.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. A guy grabbing a woman, it makes it even worse.
Wow.
So, I mean, people are getting completely crazy out there. Just totally crazy.
Yeah, it is. It is. Well, I
Yeah.
think at the very least, she put the business on notice and served them with, notice of assault and battery and discrimination. And the thing about lawsuits that John
It's
J.
searching for
Stevenson,
direction, and the direction is do not pass go, do not collect $200.
right, right, what Mark says. And if anyone wonders who the amorphous voice is in the sky, that's actually our good friend Mark and Rebecca's roommate. So he's put
He's kind of like my Snurdly. You know how Rush Limbaugh has Snurdly? You never hear Snurdly, but actually do hear Mark. But you never hear Snurdly, but Snurdly's always there, kind of in Rush's ear all the time.
right,
And
right,
yeah, so I've found that when you're doing something like this and you don't have a live audience, because I've done a lot of speeches at rallies and things like that, and you kind of feed off the energy of the audience, and it's a little harder when you're doing this sort of thing when you don't have an audience
oh yeah,
to reach out to.
absolutely.
Because you're kind of looking for reaction to the audience, what they're doing, how they're reacting to what you're saying. So it makes it. Hey, David, I see David has joined us on YouTube. I see that.
Awesome.
Hey, Dave, I'm glad you made it on here. So anyway, so that is a perfect example of that 30-4-3, but on top of that, it is also physical battery.
Yep, absolutely. Ugh.
Not cool.
No.
So on this number 6, there wasn't really a statute attached to that one, and neither was there number 7. But on the number 8, in which they call the police on you for simply being there,
Yes.
that is trying to report you for an assault or whatever. And that falls under 30-3-1.
Yes, 30-3-1 would be for assault. There's another one, though. In the state of New Mexico, it can be considered harassment because in places of public accommodation, we're supposed to have access to the full range of enjoyment of any place of public accommodation without fear of discrimination or harassment or intimidation. So in the state of New Mexico, 30-3A-2 is the statutory code for harassment that this would fall under.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. And the thing is, they can claim, oh, now you're trespassing because I've told you to leave. Actually, no. If there's no valid claim of trespass, then they are trespassing upon your right to be in a place of public accommodation. So
Okay.
it's interesting because the stores up till now have been saying, oh, well, if we tell you to leave, you have to go. If there's been no violation, you don't have to go. They're open to the public, and you're a member of the public, and the businesses, every business that's a place of public accommodation, has chosen to grant the public the irrevocable right of enjoying whatever goods and services are available for purchase on their premises. Public can walk in, and they can't stop them as long as there is no actual violation. And if they make an invalid claim of violation and call the cops on you, it can count as harassment. Depending on how they aggravate it, especially if they're wearing a mask, you can actually make a case for it for it to be considered assault.
Yeah. So, another thing that we wanted to talk about this week, we're kind of going to talk about, we don't want to talk about the mask thing all day like we did last week, because we're going to kind of cover other things today. So, let me turn that down a little bit. Okay. Is we wanted to talk a lot about fake news also. And, we can just go all over the place with fake news.
We so can.
It's like fake news. It can be just outright lies.
Yep.
It can be what I call lying through omission. Basically, you just hand pick a few things and take them out of context, and you make something look like it's not. Kind of like one thing I tell people, you'll watch like a station like MSNBC, or I call it MSLSD.
Or, yeah,
I like MSLSD. That's a good one. Uh, but you know what they do is
on. Yes.
that's right. But you know, they will go to all the Trump rallies and they will have cameras at the Trump rally. But they will not be streaming the Trump rally. What they are doing is they are picking and choosing, like they're watching him for him to do anything that could possibly be taken out of context, and then they'll show that clip, and their idiots on the station will commentate on it.
Yeah.
So they'll say what he said, but they won't let you hear what he said.
Yeah,
And
they're editing it and then quote streaming it to you as if it's in real time, but it's not actually in real time.
yeah. So David is saying I had to run in about how much the Democrats are hypocrites. I guess they are. He said, I was playing Pokemon yesterday at the Veterans Memorial Park, and I saw Ben Ray Lujan Jr. walking around like he owned the place and not wearing a mask. Oh my gosh, not wearing a mask.
Wow. Hey, Ben Ray Lujan Jr., I know some of your relatives. I'll tell on you.
That's right. But he's special, so he doesn't have to follow the rules, right?
Yeah, of course not. Of course.
Kind of like our governor going to the jewelry store when the jewelry stores aren't when they're closed and nobody else is allowed to go. But you know, our
well, no,
as I heard her referred to.
She sent a staffer to pick the jewelry up for her, so
Yeah.
it's totally okay, right?
Or like Nancy Pelosi going to a closed down hair salon and getting her hair done when nobody else is allowed to, and not wearing a mask.
And Lori Lightfoot did that too.
Equal, but some are more equal than others.
Yeah. So anyway, I noticed something interesting about, if you've been watching the rallies, like the airport rallies that Trump has been doing, and I love them, they're awesome. You have Air Force One parked right back behind him. It's so cool. It's just, he just figures out a way to play the system and just beat them at their silly little game.
Oh yeah.
And I noticed something, and I've been talking to Mark about this. If you watch the rallies, there are always like bleachers right behind him. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now, if you watch a station like CNN or MSNBC, if they show anything to do, they never want to zoom their cameras out and show how huge the crowd is. All they do is they plant their camera right on him the whole time, and all you see is just a little bit behind him. So you notice, okay, if you watch like RSBN, which is what I watch, they're panning all the time. They show the whole speech from beginning to end without interruption. You see the whole thing. You hear every word he says. But they also pan around and show the whole crowd. Okay, but you notice if you watch RSBN, you'll notice virtually nobody in the entire crowd is wearing a mask. But that small little group in the bleachers behind him are all wearing Trump masks.
Yep.
Now, I think that's a setup to make it difficult for the mainstream news, because basically, if they keep their cameras just planted on him like they normally do, they can't say, oh my God, he's having this super spreader event and nobody's wearing a mask, because since they're only willing to show you that just that little space, well, then all they see are masks. Okay. So they're left in this difficult position where, well, we can't pan out because then we'll show there's a huge crowd. So, and I really do think that's the game he's playing with them.
Right. Yeah. No. Whoever gave them that idea is absolutely brilliant. Because it's much easier to control what people see in a smaller frame than in like a huge pan of a huge area. So mainstream media really is kind of shooting themselves in the foot by, oh, we're just going to show the people he has grandstanding behind him. And Trump campaign's like, okay, we can work with that. Here, buddy, here's some masks. Here's a free
there we go.
Mask. You want a free seat in the bleachers back here? Well, then you get to advertise for us. That's a great bit of advertising.
So that's the conclusion I've come to, because, by the way, everybody, if you want to watch the Trump rallies, go to rsbnetwork.com. Watch it on there. Mm-hmm. Okay, they follow the president around to every single rally, and he's going to be like having a load. Right now, they're trying to figure out how we're going to cover all these rallies, because he's doing like 2 or 3 rallies a day. Like today, he's doing 2 rallies in Ohio.
Well, what's really brilliant about it, and I'm not the one who observed this first. It was actually Dan Bongino, who's former Secret Service. When Trump and the campaign announced that they were going to go ahead and do airport rallies, runway hangar rallies, he's like, this is the best idea ever. Because from a Secret Service perspective, they have flown in to every single airport in this country. They have vetted security in every single airport in this country. And now they don't have to vet the security and the routes to and from a hotel or a convention center. They don't have to wait for roads to be blocked off or a motorcade or anything like that. That's why he's able to do 2 rallies in a day. So, thank you, liberals, for putting the pressure on convention centers to deny our president, because they just figured out how, okay, we can't have 1 in one city here in a convention center. Oh, we'll just have 2 at airports in a day.
Right.
So he's getting more mileage.
Trump is brilliant. So what he does is he pulls up an Air Force One, he opens the door, he hops out, he gets up on the podium, he talks, and then when he's done, he gets back on the plane and they take off.
And Secret Service loves it, because for them, from a security standpoint, it is streamlined.
Oh, it's so easy. And here's an interesting thing.
It costs less dollars, less taxpayer dollars, to keep our president safe during these events. Bonus.
Yep. Yep. And here's something that Mark and I were discussing the other day. Okay, airports. Who runs the airports? The Department of Transportation, a federal agency, is in charge of the airports. So these liberal governors that are trying to obstruct the president from campaigning in their state, guess what? They don't control the airports.
Yep. They can't. Yeah.
Yep.
They can't just shut it down. So, woohoo!
Isn't that great? I know.
Awesome. That's so awesome.
So, I was
so much winning. Yeah.
Winning. Are we sick of winning yet? I'm not.
Oh, heck no. Heck, not even close.
Trump is a gamer.
Yeah.
He played Monopoly with real money and real property.
Yeah.
This is true.
Yeah.
This is true.
That's true.
Absolutely
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. And not only that, but he has acting experience and he knows how to play to a crowd.
Yep.
So,
He's done
these crooked politicians, they just can't keep up with him. Totally can't. So I'll tell you about my interesting experience, my interesting mask experience just the other day.
Oh, goody.
And I'm going to give the names of these businesses so you people know who to stay away from.
Yay!
Okay? You're going to love this. I went to a business, and this was for work. I went there to do some work on their computers for them. And it was at a business in ABQ Uptown on Q Street, Northeast, off of Louisiana, called Anthropology.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like an Urban Outfitter place or something.
Yeah.
So I went in there, and the saw me when I came in, said, well, I need you to wear a mask. And I said, well, I can't wear a mask. I have a medical issue.
Right.
And so she just went away. Well, I proceeded to hook up my laptop, and I was getting everything. I was on the phone with tech support, and I was literally almost done. And the manager comes along, once again, holding a mask and saying, I need you to wear this mask or you can't stay here.
Oh,
and I said, I'm almost done. And, well, I'm sorry, it's company policy. I said,
one moment.
Yeah, I said, now you realize that is discrimination. I have told you that I have a medical issue, and that is discrimination. And she said, well, I know it's discrimination, but it's company policy. And I'm like, what?
Wait, she says she knows it's discrimination?
Yeah. Imagine that.
Oh, she admitted it. No. This is
Yeah.
huge. She admitted
Oh, I know.
it. You can sue her
Right.
civilly, personally.
Yeah.
Not just her company. You
So,
can sue her. Oh my
oh, I know. It's like, I
business
know, but
owners,
it's company
please be
policy. So I'm like,
smart.
it's like, so company policy says it's okay to do discrimination, even though it's against the law. And it's like you were knowingly doing this, and you admit it. So needless to say, I told the tech support representative I was on the phone with the network operations center, I said, I can't finish the job because the manager says I can't keep working without a mask. I said, so I guess we can't finish. He said, oh, okay. So shut down my laptop. I packed up my stuff and I left.
Do they still
And
get billed for the hours you were actually there?
oh, I still got paid. I still got paid.
That's awesome.
Yep. And so then what I did as I was leaving, I says, I'm going to drop off a sheet with you outlining which laws you're breaking so that you know. And I left one of those sheets, one of these legal notices on the table there. And then after I left, I filed a complaint with the DOJ.
Good. And did you serve them with that affidavit, the notice of discrimination?
You know, I didn't have that much time. I was already kind of, it was kind of a different, yeah.
You can fill it out. You can still fill it out now. Mail it to them. You have the name of the manager, right?
Yeah.
And make sure that you put in there, like as close as you can quote her, that she, so-and-so, acknowledged that this was discriminating against me for medical reasons, but she was okay with that because it's their corporate policy. And
oh yeah, and I posted it all over Facebook.
Oh, good. Yes, but yeah, send them the official affidavit, and then also send copies of the affidavit to see if Anthropology has a corporate headquarters. They might not if they're local, but if they're like a chain business, they will have a corporate headquarters and they will have a legal address or office that you could send it to as well. Just put them on notice saying, hey.
Now you remember my story last week about Karen over there at yes, over at Tomasita's in Albuquerque.
Oh yeah.
I mailed her one of those notices of discrimination. I also mailed the notice to the legal department for Tomasita's. Well, actually, no. Let me think. Now, what did I do on that one? No, I couldn't do it on that. I have never been able to find out who owns Tomasita's.
Really? Huh.
I've been searching all over the place. I can't figure it out. It's it's a family-owned business, and they own one in Albuquerque and they own one in Santa Fe. But who was it I did file one against the other day? There was one I did the other day, and I'm trying to remember at one of the businesses I went to. But I did the whole thing. I mailed the things off to him, and I filed the discrimination complaint to the DOJ. And what I can tell you people out there is, I kid you not, let's flood the DOJ with these notices of discrimination. Absolutely fun. They need to see what's going on in New Mexico, because what's going on in New Mexico is we've got a dictator, and as she was referred to, who referred to as a 4'0". Oh, Steve Smotherman at Legacy Church, in his sermon 3 weeks ago, referred to her as the 4'0" dictator.
I like calling her Napoleonita. Yeah. Oh.
She's got a Napoleon
complex. Yes. Well,
I love it.
You've been busy. I've been in stores and I've had my clipboard with me and I'm all ready, and then
Napoleon didn't have that big complex.
No one bothers me. So kind of.
I take the clip. Where was it we went the other day, Mark, and I had the clipboard and they didn't bother us? I don't remember.
That was Bubba's.
We went to Bubba's 33. Of course, we didn't try to use the bathroom either.
No.
Yeah, that's where they draw the line, using the bathroom. Oh my God.
See somebody go leave a table and apparently go to the bathroom. She went in and then came back out later.
And she wasn't wearing a mask?
Was not wearing a mask.
Oh. See, we didn't test them at Bubba's 33. We ate on the outside patio because that's where we wanted to eat.
It was nice weather.
Yeah, it was nice out. So I didn't know how that was going to go, and so we didn't push that one.
Yeah. So someone did ask me over the weekend. They're like, "Well, what's the big deal? Why can't you just tell them what your medical condition is, and then they'll let you in anyway?" A, none of your darn business. B,
That's right.
It's my private business. And who knows what your medical condition is, true. But also B, there's no guarantee that when you tell them your medical condition, and I have done this sometimes, and told them kind of what's up, and they're like, well, it's still our corporate policy. Or then they ask, do you have a doctor's note? And I'm like, okay, now that's definitely a HIPAA violation.
Yeah.
You can't.
Oh, I got asked that before. I told you about that one.
Yeah, you can't make service to me contingent upon seeing my private medical records. Yeah, no, not gonna fly.
No.
At all.
No. And you know what it is I've been trying to arm people. Oh, by the way, I mean, you can't tell because I'm wearing a hat, but I got my hair cut over the weekend.
Oh,
and I did not wear a mask. And I'm not. It's a lady that's a hairstylist that has a setup in her home. I'm not going to mention her name. I'm not going to say who she is. But it's a good friend of mine wants to get their hair cut. I will share the information. I have the permission to do that. And she knows this is a bunch of crap. And we actually got into a long conversation while I was getting my hair cut. I hadn't known up to that point exactly what her political views were at all. And I don't even know how the subject came up. But needless to say, it ended up there. And we were talking about stuff. And then I got to talking to her about the mask stuff. And she was really anxious to see the information I had so that she could start fighting back too. And I said, make sure you share this stuff. And then of course, then we were comparing guns too after that.
She showed me her Glock.
She showed us her Glock. And it's like, so I showed her my nice little, my Ruger LC9S that I carry in my purse. And for an early birthday present, I got a brand new Beretta 92 FS just the other day, and I took it to the range and tried it out. It was awesome this past weekend. So it's my new open carry sidearm.
Sweet.
So needless to say, we covered all the bases. We covered Trump. We covered masks. We covered guns. It was a really great haircutting experience.
Sounds like I should just look her up just for good conversation. Yeah. I mean, I'm not in the market for a haircut. Frankly, I haven't cut my hair in like 11 years. I'm always up for good conversation like that.
Hey, do you know that Mark, how many years has it been since you got your haircut, Mark?
Only 24.
24 years. He had not had his haircut in 24 years. I said, Mark,
did he get his hair cut?
You should see it. It looks really great now.
Finally. Ooh.
Yes. She did his hair while we were there. And it's like, gosh, Mark, that looks really nice. She really did a good job.
And she let me handle her Glock.
And he said, and she let me talk.
Wow. She likes you.
That sounds pretty bad. It does.
Careful, kid-friendly show here, hopefully.
Oh my gosh! So we were kind of touching on fake news, and David doesn't like Glocks. Well, what kind of guns do you prefer, David? Why don't you tell us? I love my new Beretta 92 FS. When I took it to the range, I was bullseyeing at 15 yards at the range with it. And first day I'd even used it, and it's like, well, that's pretty darn good.
Wow.
Yeah.
Which range did you go to? And did they make you wear a mask?
No, absolutely not. We went to Mags in Moriarty.
I keep hearing good
That's my
things
favorite
about
place.
them. We need to go there.
Yeah, they're awesome.
Yeah, John, next date. Yeah, that's where
Yeah,
we're going.
yeah. Oh, and by the way, while we were there, we went to Shorty's Barbecue,
Yes.
and the lady there, I mean, she's been fighting really hard against the nonsense, and they have just been all over her. So he likes Smith and Wessons. Okay, yeah, but hey, there's nothing wrong with those. Nothing wrong with
Smiths
Colts.
and Wessons are great. Those are
Yeah,
great
you can't
for sure.
can't go wrong there. Yeah. Um, but we talked to her over there, and I was sharing the information with her about the mask, how they're breaking the law with the mask mandates and all that other garbage.
Right.
And of course, she's been fighting this all along. And she told me an interesting story. She said she got a visit by OSHA. Okay, so now the governor is sticking OSHA on her. So OSHA comes out there about the mask and well, your people here are going to have to wear a mask, or you're going to have to pay a fine. Oh, she said, so either my people have to wear, I don't really want my people to wear masks. So you're telling me either they wear a mask or I pay a fine. She said, how much is the fine?
Good girl.
Because he said it's a one-time fine. It's like, well, I pay you a fine, then you go away and I never hear from you again. It's like, well, that works. But when she asked him that, he couldn't tell her what the fine was. He said, well, I'm going to have to go back to my office and figure that out. It's like, sounds like an idle threat to me, don't it to you?
Oh my gosh. Wow, that's rich. Oh man.
Yeah. I said, that's like, well, gosh, I was going to find out what the fine was. If it's a couple $100, I'm just going to pay it and they'll go away forever.
Heck yeah. If anyone knows, let me know, because as a business owner, I'd like to be able to budget for that. Sure. No problem.
Yeah. Right. Sure. Just pay you off, just kind of like in a third world country where you pay off the cops and they go away. Well, that's kind of how we're becoming. We're becoming like a banana republic.
Yep. So speaking of fact checkers,
what's that?
Speaking of fact checkers, I had come across something interesting back in June. Facebook a while back, they hired all these independent fact checkers. They'll say anything to make them sound, bona fides, etc. And
right.
One of their fact checkers kind of got outed. It was called Lead Stories. And this outfit was, one of their main fact checkers, except they were staffed to the gills with ex-CNN staffers, and they were supposed to be neutral. And then also most of their employees, it was discovered, had donated to the Democratic Party. Okay. So yeah, the National Pulse, TNP, did a story about supposed financial links between Black Lives Matter and Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden. And the fundraiser, Act Blue, was flagged as partly false by Lead Stories fact checking on Facebook's behalf. So because they did that, fact checking things, and people went ahead and did some digging, and then of course that's what they turned up. Oh yeah, most of your employees, most of your fact checkers are CNN alumni, and they all donated to the Democrat Party. Okay, interesting. So then I looked at another one too, PolitiFact. Frankly, anyone who uses PolitiFact against me, I'm just like, I have to laugh. Like, really? You're precious. You still think PolitiFact is about fact checking? Yeah, wow, okay. Yeah, they had something a while back. They had rated a Trump ad as mostly false on their
Mostly
truthometer.
false.
Mostly false. Because the Trump ad said that the Democratic presidential candidates, this was before the primaries, supported giving illegal immigrants free health care at our expense. So, yeah, they rated that mostly false. Regardless of the fact that all of the mainstream Democrat candidates supported giving health care to illegals, including Joe Biden, Cory Booker, Pete Buttigieg, Julian Castro, Marianne Williamson, Bernie Sanders, of course, because he had a plan in the Senate at that time, and Elizabeth Warren, Kamala Harris, Kirsten Gillibrand, who all co-sponsored Sanders' Medicare for All bill. So, who didn't? The only ones that didn't actually commit to that verbally were, and I'm sure you know all of these, Rebecca, because they're totally famous, right? John Delaney,
Yeah.
Steve Bullock, Wayne Messam, Tim Ryan, and Joe Sestak. Yeah, they're rock stars, right? Everybody knows who they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, those
Yeah,
are the
right.
only ones that didn't say either way. The only mainstream candidates that offered an opinion on the matter or were unclear or they hadn't offered an opinion were Tulsi Gabbard and Amy Klobuchar. Okay, so I guess because not every single candidate had said that they were forgiving healthcare to illegals, is that why they rated it mostly false? Well, what's funny is when I went looking, I couldn't find exactly why they rated it mostly false. So,
Well, and not only that, but okay, so what parameters are they using for, okay, to what extent does something have to be before it's mostly false? At what threshold
right.
does it reach mostly false? Who decides this? Who comes up with these standards
Well,
and this
like,
criteria by which this is rated?
And then, like Facebook a while back, I think it was only a couple weeks ago,
They
Nancy
call
Pelosi had
it
said
false
something.
college.
Nancy Pelosi had said something,
Sorry,
and a conservative quoted Nancy Pelosi, and they quoted her accurately, and Facebook labeled that quote mostly false. I'm like, oh,
Well,
so
maybe
you're
what they
saying,
were saying, what Nancy Pelosi said was mostly false,
yeah, she
which is
lies.
usually
Okay,
true.
cool, Facebook. I could get on board with
She
that.
lies all the time.
Yeah, if you're saying Nancy
Yeah.
Pelosi lies, well, that's mostly true.
Yeah. I guess it all depends on how you look at it.
Right.
If, you know, if they're saying that most of what Nancy Pelosi said was false, then well, that would be true.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's like me telling you I'm a liar
everything I say is
and everything I say is a lie.
Including what you just
So,
said, right? Yeah.
well, because I'm a liar, obviously what I just said is a lie, right?
Yeah, well, obviously.
There was an old episode, the original Star Trek, where they basically, got these robots to self-destruct because they were trying to come up with the logic of that.
Oh, they're trying to
And
figure it
Harry
out.
Mudd says,
Oh my gosh.
everything I say is a lie. And then they look at him like, but if everything you say is a lie, then how can that be true? And it's like, and then they finally, their heads smoked and their heads blew up. So yeah,
Oh my gosh.
actually, that's how I feel a lot of time I'm listening to these Democrats. I feel like my head's going to just smoke and blow up. I just, it just baffles anybody with a logical mind.
Yeah. Well, so also on Twitter, the National Pulse had come out with an exclusive that the BLM defund the police fundraiser. It's run by Act Blue, which is
Act Blue. I did a little research on them today.
They're the largest single donor for Biden for president campaign, or at least they were at the time of this.
Well, and what they are is, I did a little research on them, and Act Blue, basically what they are is they're kind of like PayPal, only they are PayPal strictly for Democrat causes.
Yep.
Okay. And all of the money that people send in for donations for BLM gets funneled through Act Blue.
Yep.
So it's kind of hard to get a lot of details on it, but I do know that that's the case. They are a Democrat. They back Democrat causes. Act Blue does.
Yeah.
And BLM all the through Act Blue, and Act Blue collects a fee for any transaction that goes through there of like 3.5% or something like that.
Well, guess who labeled that tweet about Act Blue running the BLM Defund the Police fundraiser. Guess who labeled that partly false information?
Partly false.
Yeah, partly false. That was labeled by Lead Stories, the CNN staff, Democrat contributing. Basically, it's like an arm of CNN alumni.
Well, that just sounds like an incredibly reliable source of fact checking now,
Right.
don't it?
Incredible. Well, it gets even better. The founder, Bernie Sanders, he's donated over $10,000 to Democratic political campaigns, including Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama. But
Being a
over
little bit pregnant. You
10,000
either are or you aren't.
for a private citizen. That's a lot. I mean,
It is.
most people might donate, 50 here, 25 there, maybe okay, 100, 200. If you really want to splurge on, the Trump hat and the sign and all the paraphernalia. But 10,000? Holy moly.
I've bought a lot of Trump hats and paraphernalia and things like that, but I can't imagine spending $10,000 on all of that. I've got a pretty good collection of Trump hats too.
Now,
I have.
here's what gets me.
Every time I see a new design, I get it.
Right? No, I love your Trump collection, especially the pink hat. I love
The pink one, yes.
Yes, I want one. Now, what gets me is I've been fact checked and I've been false flagged or mostly false flagged on Facebook quite a few times. And what always gets me is when you click for more details, they say, this was flagged because of mostly false information. But then they don't tell you which part was mostly false or which part was true. They don't tell you any of that. They don't give you their rationale. They just point you towards a left-leaning website for more information on this subject. See, Politico or PolitiFact or CNN. I'm like, oh yeah.
Right. And so what they will do, I did a little reading on this today about how they do this. And okay, here's an interesting thing too that Facebook does. They have these independent fact checking, organizations, multiple different ones that will, go through their content and they do, flag them and say they're fake, they're false, or they're mostly false or whatever. But here's an interesting thing. Facebook can go in and they can say, well, no, let's kind of reduce that to just partly false because this particular person is contributing a lot of money to Facebook. So we can't complain against them too much. So they actually do this sort of stuff, or they'll eliminate the false, together and just completely clear them because, oh my God, they're a huge contributor. We can't afford to lose them.
Right.
So they do that kind of stuff. But here's an interesting thing about how these fact checkers will do things. Okay. Say somebody climate change thing. Okay. There are a lot of people talking about this. It probably is. It probably changes all the time. I would guess it constantly changes. There are so many things that contribute to climate. The sun, the output of the sun,
Right.
God, whether there's a volcano that's erupted or something. A lot of things can put gas into the sky. The outrange, there can be solar flares, all kinds of things can cause this. And just the weather, historically, there's scientific evidence that shows that at one point in time, there was an ice age on the whole planet. Eventually, the ice receded, and now we have the polar ice caps, and it would appear at a time, which would seem like it's probably just a normal thing. So what they do is, there's climate change. I don't think anybody will dispute that. Sure, climate changes all the time. Say this thing that man is causing the climate change, or, well, how do they haven't proven that.
Well,
And how could you,
the real question is how much? How
You
much,
are
and is it
a
noticeable?
heretic.
yeah, and you can't really prove that without enormous amounts of time.
Yeah.
And so they really can't prove it, yet they're pushing it. So you have a a number of scientists that are coming up with a consensus. Consensus is a consensus isn't based on actual facts or data. It's a collection of people that have a similar opinion.
Peer
So
pressure
there,
too.
if a bunch of people have the same opinion, well, it must be true, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, no. So what, and how that kind of goes into the whole censorship and stuff like that is there will be actual climatologists out there that are saying, no, you haven't proven this, and it's just unproven, and I think it's nonsense. So
Yeah.
you have the people out there with their consensus saying that, well, this is what's happening, and they get to post on social media all they want, and they never get censored. But yet, if a scientist comes out and says, hey, I disagree with this, and there could even be a lot of scientists that disagree with this and say, well, we disagree with your consensus, they get censored, or they get completely canceled altogether.
Yeah,
You know,
there
just like
are.
those doctors,
Oh, like Simone
just like
Weil.
the doctors that came out and were talking about the hydroxychloroquine and all of that. They got canceled because their opinion was not what these so-called fact checkers agreed with. And how, you know, you've got some people that call themselves a fact checker, and somebody, they don't like their opinion, so therefore it must be false.
Consensus was the world is flat.
So
That's right,
this,
Mark.
it's, yeah, right. At one